In this video, we're going to look at point slope and slope intercept forms. First, let's look at point slope. Point slope form is just y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So, if we're given, in this case, a point and a slope, all we have to do is plug them in. So we have y minus, well, what's our y value here? 1 equals our slope m, -3, times x minus x1. Well, our x1 is -4, so that's x minus a -4, and the minus a negative is really just a positive. So it's that simple. If we're given a point and the slope, and we use point slope form, all we have to do is plug it in. Now, what if we're given 2 points? We don't have the slope. We just have 2 points. So what do we have to do? First, we have to find the slope. And in a previous video, we talked about how to find the slope of m using the change in y over the change in x. So if we label these x1, y1, x2, y2, we can say that if we use that past formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Remember, they have to be y2, y1, x2, x1. And so x2 minus negative is going to be positive. And so we get 4 minus 2, which is 2, and 2 plus 3, which is 5. And so now we have our slope. Well, we can plug that piece in. So we have y minus something equals 2/5 x minus something. Okay, well, now what do? We can pick one of the 2 points. It doesn't matter if we pick this one or this one, it's going to give us the same line. So let's just pick this one because they're both positive and that's easy. So what's our x value? 2. What's our y value? 4. And that's it. Point slope form is basically just plugging in 1 point and the slope. That's all you need. Now, let's look at the slope intercept form. And I think this is the one that most people will remember from high school, is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Now, if we're given a line like this, how do we change it to that? Well, first thing we got to do is get y by itself. So we want to subtract 4x from both sides. And so that would leave us with 5y equals -4x minus 10. Now we're going to divide everything by 5 to get y by itself. And when we do that, we get y equals -4/5 x minus 2. And so here's our slope, and here's our intercept. And that's why it's called slope-intercept form, is because we can very clearly identify slope, because it's in front of x, and intercept, because it's by itself on the end. Now, once again, how would we do that if we just had 2 points? Well, we're going to have to find the slope using the method we used here. And so we're going to label these x1, y1, x2, y2. And so y2 minus y1, 4 minus 1, over x2 minus x1, that's 2 minus 1. And so we have 4 minus 1 is 3 over 1, right? 2 minus 1 is 1, and so that's really just 3. So now we have our slope. So we have an equation right now that looks like this. Y equals 3x plus b. We don't know what b is. How would we find b? Well, we'd find b by plugging in one of our points, right? If I put a value in for y and I put a value in for x, then the only variable left is b. So if I take my point 1, 1 and I plug it in, I get 1 equals 3 times 1 plus b. Well, that's just 3, so we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. 1 minus 3 is negative 2, so b is equal to negative 2. So that means our equation here, what we need to do is take this negative 2 and replace b with negative 2. And that is our new equation. So the slope-intercept form uses is very easy to identify the slope and intercept. So that's why it's useful. And so if you want to graph these, that's the main reason why we do it this way, is because it's easy to identify the slope and the intercept.